If you don't like intro, skip to this timestamp.
Welcome back to the Ultimate Doom Iceberg. It has been quite a while since the last episode because I've had some stuff going on, but that's besides the point. Today we are going into the Ultraviolence tier, which just is a lot more lesser known stuff than the last tier because I don't really know what I was thinking making these tiers. I didn't really have a category in mind for them. Really, until we start getting much deeper into the iceberg will the more obscure stuff start coming up. This is still kind of surface level, but compared to other stuff, not so much. I'm sure a lot of people will see stuff in this tier and be like, why is that there? And to that I say, I don't know. I have no idea what I was thinking when I first made this. I did my best and there's no going back on this. So here we go. So I couldn't really find anything about the demon language being translatable, but the maker language I could. There is this chart of the demon language, which kind of gives us an idea of what it could be translated to. I've seen threads where people attempt to translate it, and I think some people say they've got it, but when they apply it to some of the text in the games, it's kind of just thrown together letters. Emerson Tung, who's one of the artists for Doom Eternal, posted a key for the Maker and Sentinel languages. Maybe one day I'll go through all the codex entries and translate them all in a video. Now I got really excited because in the codex for Book of the Seraphs, you can see some verses from the Bible, which got me really excited because I love seeing biblical inspiration in games, especially Doom with it taking place in hell. But it kind of looks like they're just there for dramatic effect. Because also too, some of the verses are cut off. But I have yet myself to go through all of the codex and translate everything. I would love to spend an entire video doing that, but with how you can see my progress on these videos, maybe one day. Some of the verses include Genesis 1:3, Isaiah 34:3 and 34:2, Revelations 13:1 and Revelations 9:6. I talked about the alpha version of Doom in the last episode, and it had a lot of cut weapons, like this bayonet assault rifle, this weird looking shotgun, this machine gun. The bayonet was supposed to be able to actually be used as a bayonet and thrusted at enemies. There's also this early version of the BFG, which was cut due to it being, quote, too Christmas. The Beta Lost Soul design is a little weird, with it being silver and not on fire, so it looks just like in recent WADs that people have created, like Doom 0, it was used as the Alpha Soul, and also in Legacy of Rust being turned into the Ghoul. Originally, it wasn't going to charge at you, it was going to have a hit scan attack with psychic powers. I even saw somewhere that said it would bypass armor, but I don't know if that's true. This design was later scrapped and reworked into the design we know today. However, the old design was then reworked into the invincibility power-up. This actually isn't the only graphical rework the Lost Soul had. In the original 1993 release, Lost Souls looked like this, where they were just on fire. But then when Doom 2 came out, along with Doom 1.9, Adrian Carmack was asked to rework the animation, so now instead of it just being on fire, it's cranking its hog. If you haven't noticed with this iceberg already, a lot of Doom's textures are just real things that were scanned into the game. This is the case for a lot of the gargoyle textures. You can find this one at the Rodin Museum in Pennsylvania. You can also see it using Google Street View, which again, I kind of just stole that from Decino's video. I don't know if this is just speculated or if it's confirmed, but it said that a lot of the images were taken from Nightmares in the Sky, a book by Stephen King and F. Scott Fitzgerald, which just showcase a bunch of different gargoyles, which of course a lot of them ended up being used in Doom. Again, thank you so much to Decino, because I know all of that because of his video on Doom's textures. Okay, Doom RPG is a little weird because it's one of the only Doom games I haven't played, and I would love to play it blind one day, so I don't want to spoil it at all. Doom RPG came about when John Carmack, while working at Armadillo Aerospace, which I don't even know what that is, he had lost his phone and his wife bought him a new one despite him resisting, because apparently, quote, he didn't like talking to most people. The bad Java demo games on the phone inspired him to start working in the JPME environment, which is Java Platform Micro Edition, which was at the time the dominant gaming platform in the mobile market. He had wanted a change of pace after the development of Doom 3 and had previous experience with Java, so this is what inspired him to start working on the game. Due to the limitations at the time, they couldn't really go for the full 2.5D simulation aspect of Doom, and so with the limited controls, this created Doom RPG. There's some returning enemies, and then there's some that are just recolors. It said it was a variation of the Doom 3 story, but then again, I want to go into it blind, so I'm not going to look too much into it. There's tons of different versions of the game, which I don't know too much about. It said that there was at least 14 different versions, such as the Samsung SPH, Motorola V551, Sony Ericsson, just to name a few. There's also a brew port of the game, which was released for CDMA mobile phones, which had a lot more memory and added some more features like digital sound effects using QCP ringtones. I don't know much about what any of that means, but now you kind of know something more. I know the protagonist is supposed to be a Blazkowicz, which connects it to Wolfenstein, and also the Wolfenstein RPG leads into Doom RPG, but I think I've seen that somewhere, but again, I'm going to go into it blind, so maybe I'll revisit this when I figure out how to actually play it. A lot of people don't know this, but TNT Evolution does have a plot. So after the events of the other games, the UAC is still active, however, with some government restrictions. They set up base on the moons of Jupiter in case of an invasion, with Marines on standby in case of trouble. A gate opens, but Marines kill the demons with, quote, 20 shotgun blasts to a flaming skull. They have a yearly supply drip, and when it arrives, it's not the ship, it's a demon ship, which I love the way this is described.
The ship could not have come from Earth. It was huge, kilometers long, and built of bone, steel, flesh, corruption, and death. It was a biomechanical magical construct from the depths of hell, and had come through space for its vengeance. Enormous doors, large as football fields, irised open, and hideous demons poured out, plunging to the ground, and blanketing the entire base with their throbbing, pulsing bodies.
Don't know who wrote that. I'm assuming one of the TNT devs, but good job. I like that. The player, or the Marine commander, as the manual states, was away on a walk and missed the attack. And once they learn of the attack, they want revenge for the deaths of all the soldiers that they trained. Now, I've seen some people say that you're not playing as Doom Guy, and that can be the case, but I think it's unlikely, because the manual has, quote, the beings that still haunted your nightmares. I'd look to see if there was like a different version or edition of the manual that said otherwise, but I couldn't find any. But, you know, I'm a fake Doom fan because I've never played TNT Evolution yet. I plan to, hopefully on stream one day, which, by the way, I'm on Twitch and YouTube if I can figure out how to dual stream. So maybe something at the end indicates that that wasn't Doom Guy, but I'm pretty sure it is. A lot of the skyboxes you see in Doom and Doom 2 are real images that were taken from Iris Entertainment's Media Clip CD, which a lot of Doom textures originate from. Some are just the original photo, while others are multiple photos taken, cut up, and recolored into something new. Like this one in Doom 2 uses the Columbia shuttle taking off smoke. This one's pretty simple. If you look at the Menkibus fireball, it's just a lost soul without the skull. Looking back, I could have combined a lot of these into its own entry, but there's no going back. Right on the Praetor suit in 2016, you can see D22. Okay, I am losing my mind because I could have sworn D22 was important because it was also on Gypsy and Pacific Rim, which if you don't know, Hugo Martin worked on that before he became the creative director for Doom. But I guess I got this confused with F90, which in early trailers of Doom 2016, the helmet shows F90, which is also on the helmet or head of Gypsy and Pacific Rim. What D22 actually is nothing. The only thing I could find for D22 is this article on Bethesda's website where it says they got in touch with Hugo Martin and he just said it looked cool. So there you go. So the Doom novels are really interesting. I've only read the first one, and by read, I mean listening to an audiobook, which by the way, Plump Helmet Punk is the guy I listened to. He's really good. If you want to listen to it, check him out. Which I didn't know this, but he also has one for the second book, Hell on Earth, and so I'm going to be listening to that on my commute to work tomorrow. We talked about him in the top of the iceberg, but Flynn Taggart, who is a Doom Guy in this book, is a personality given to the character, which I like him because he's over the top, but not too over the top like the Doom comic. I talked about her in the first part, but Arlene Sanders is one of the supporting roles and is just Doom Girl, so maybe she's Crash from Quake 3 or who knows. From what I've heard, the plot of the novels goes way off course, and kind of spoilers, I guess. I've heard it turns into an alien invasion and it was never hell, it was just a mockery. I don't know, I haven't finished it. I almost forgot to mention, I'm re-recording this, there are Doom 3 novels where you follow the story of John Kane, which is essentially just the Doom 3 guy, and I haven't been able to read these yet, but from what I've read, it's the same thing as he gets demoted like Doom Guy and Flynn Taggart do for having a consciousness and disobeying orders, and then from there it kind of just follows the Doom 3 story, from what I can tell. There's also an unofficial series of Doom novels by Hungarian author Andreas Gaspar, probably said that wrong, I'm sorry. But at the time, because the books were unofficial, he was going under the pseudonym Damien Forrestal. The two books in the series are Doom A Pokol Gupi, which in English is The Gates of Hell, and Doom in English it's Doom Purgatory, or Cleansing Fire. So this one has to be the most derivative of the Doom story. Not derivative, but like take some liberties. A Ukrainian trooper named Oleg Gontar, who possesses beneficial mutations which he got from his grandparents who survived the Chernobyl disaster, teams up with Captain A.A. Milne, which he then has his consciousness uploaded to his own brain, creating a combination of bronze and brains, which together they are dispatched to the UAC, where a maniacal priest, Fuentes, has broken out of prison and obtained a mysterious alien object to which he releases the forces of hell. I did not know the plot until recording this. I need to read these. If I don't know how to get a copy of an English translation, if that exists, I'm sure it does, but I would love to make a whole video on that by itself because what? Just like the next entry, which I have not been able to play, Doom VFR, because my Oculus Quest is constantly overheating because I guess the fan doesn't work, and I don't know how to fix that. You play as Dr. Peters, who dies immediately upon starting the game. He then has his consciousness uploaded to a combat chassis, which is basically the same thing as Samuel Hayden. I would love to play this on stream, but I've heard it's really poorly optimized and there's tons of glitches. It's one of the few things of Doom I have not been able to consume, and it makes me feel like a fake fan. So before the revolution that was Doom, id Software was making this, which was hated by a bunch of the employees, to the point in the second secret level of Doom 2, you can find this, which I have talked about it many of times, but the theory that all the id games are a bloodline. Blazkowicz is the great-grandfather of Commander Keen, and so he is either the father or grandfather, great-grandfather, have you, for Doom Guy. You can also find Commander Keen in 2016, Eternal, and you can tell it has a love and hate relationship with him. Apparently there was going to be a mobile game adaptation, but it got canceled, so womp womp. In one of Doom Eternal's trailers, you can see the Archvile and Mars Core, along with the Slayer having the Crucible, which is noticeably absent from the final game. This is similar to the cutscene of the Cyber Demon and Taurus Nabad, also not showing up in the final game. Like I talked about in the last part, you get 2 plasma rifles in the Mars Core, but Hugo Martin stated that was always intended to be obtained in Exultia, so maybe these were just solely made to build hype, but it also could have been possible that they reordered the game's progression. This texture is Kevin Cloud's arm. Yeah. So if you didn't already know, PlayStation port of Doom didn't have the capabilities to make the music that it's so commonly known on the PC rendition. And so the absolute GOAT, Aubrey Hodges, made an entirely new soundtrack, which is just, oh, I love it. It is noticeably different from the original soundtrack, trading fast-paced metal and action-y vibes to the feeling of just being utterly alone. I haven't played the PlayStation port of Doom, but I have played Doom 64, which he also did the music for, and it just gives the game a whole new vibe. Instead of heavy metal guitar riffs, you get yeah. It's also worth mentioning he did music for Final Doom's PlayStation port, which on his Bandcamp he did an entire remaster for, as well as the other games he did, and they're just so peak. Please check him out, support him, he's my goat. In the last track for Doom, of Doom 2016 soundtrack, if you take the audio and do some fancy stuff with it, I don't know, audio is not my strong suit, if you couldn't tell from all of my videos. If you reverse it, you get similar to this. If you put the Cyber Demon track in a spectrograph, you see a couple pentagrams. The father overthrowing Devoth is pretty self-explanatory. Ancient Gods Part 2 is always talking about how Devoth created everything, which I find confusing because Hugo Martin has talked about in his streams that he wants there to be something more than Devoth, like big Cthulhu monster, which we got that in Dark Ages, which this is a later entry, but might as well talk about it here. When Ancient Gods Part 2 got released, there was an error that made the mysterious voice in the Conmaker's death cutscene say Dark Lord Devoth, which Hugo Martin stated was not intended. So we still don't know who that mysterious voice is. Maybe it's Ozrak or whatever. This one's for all my coworkers because they know I hate board games and they get mad because I don't like playing them. There's 2 Doom board games, one being for Doom 3 and the other being for 2016. They're relatively the same from what I've read, with the 2016 version just kind of being a reskin. The game consists of 2 teams, the Invaders and the Marines. Up to 4 players can play as the Marines, while 1 person can play the Invader. Before the game can begin, you choose a scenario which is named after the many episodes of Doom, which you got more in the expansion set that was later released. And also on top of this, it was just announced that they're making a Dark Ages arena game, and I swear I saw somewhere they're making something for a 1993 looking game. If I can eventually find it while I'm editing this, I'll put it up. And researching this and learning the rules, I really want to play it. And shout out to my coworker Nick. If I get it, I'll have you teach me how to play, because you're probably good at that. Shout out to you. It's implied that Doom Guy dies at the end of Knee Deep in the Dead, and by implies I mean the level cannot end until you die. So it's implied you die and go to hell, which, me being me, Christian Panic, which he then later escapes in The Shores of Hell and Inferno. And this is kind of expanded upon in the Doom novels, where it shows that Flynn is butt naked when he gets to The Shores of Hell. So it kind of makes it wishy-washy with how death works in the Doom universe, which, spoilers for Dark Ages, spoilers, skip to this timestamp if you haven't played Dark Ages yet. When he dies, goes to hell, and is later resurrected, and he's a zombie. Makes me ask, was he a zombie during The Shores of Hell? And when he gets to Earth, he gets his human body back. Whole lot of questions that probably won't get answered. But I can hope. Maybe one day we'll get a 1993 games remake, but nothing ever happens. E1M4 has a swastika in it. Well, at least in the original 1.0 version of Doom. To be fair, the swastika was inverted, which I just think it's funny. But the wiki says this was in homage to Wolfenstein, which maybe it was. But I don't think if a Wolfenstein fan puts a swastika up on their wall, it's paying homage to the game. Okay, and then I didn't even know this until recording. In version 1.2, they changed it to a non-mirrored version of a swastika, and then later in 1.4 they changed it completely to a shape that only loosely resembles a swastika, and then many different ports have different versions. The Atari Jaguar has no structure there at all. John Romero said he put a swastika in Commander Keen as well because he thought it was neat that there was an evil thing in a cute kids game, calling it a premonition of things to come, namely Wolfenstein 3D, which is why he then puts it in Doom and then takes it out for the exact same reason. This is even referenced in the Doom novels when Fly discovers a, quote, several Cray 9000 computer being placed together to create a freaking swastika, being unsure if it was created by the UAC or the alien invaders as a scare tactic or a joke by certain UAC workers. I've talked about this before. I get really upset, confused by it because I don't know what the Red Cross's big deal is. If you don't know, the Red Cross hates gamers because video game bad. If you've ever noticed in a lot of older games, the red cross is everywhere, but as you go forward in time, they turn into either red with a white cross, which is just the Swiss flag, or green, blue, other colors, because the red cross is a copyrighted symbol. And I guess this is because they don't want to be associated with violence in video games or things that don't represent them, which I think it just further helps push what they go for, because as a kid growing up, you see that symbol and you're like, oh, that means health. So they're going to see that symbol and go get health, safety. Like, it's just further stating. I get so upset about this. From what I can tell, yeet hooking is just any kind of tech you could perform with the meat hook. Like, strafing will increase your speed, and if you hold the weapon wheel, it messes with the game's physics, allowing you to go further, which Eternal has so much tech you can pull off. That can be a whole iceberg on its own, which I know I say that about everything on here, but it can. Doom's RNG isn't RNG. They have a list of random numbers, and every time the game is like, hey, I need a random number, goes to that sheet, grabs a random number, and then the next time it needs another random number, it grabs the next one in it. That probably doesn't sound very good of an explanation unless I put up a visual.
You see, the way Doom's random number generator works is that it actually isn't random. The programmers made a chart with 256 values. When the game needs a random number, the chart gives the game a random number, which the first being 0. Next time there needs to be a random number, the game gives the next value on the chart, which is 8.
And that's all for the iceberg, so if you don't care about anything I have to say, feel free to click off. I have been all over the place recently. So Dark Ages came out, I played the crap out of it, and then I have a full-time job, but I'm also able to have a lot of free time to work on this. But then I hurt my wrist, so that was not fun, but it gave me a lot of motivation to finish this. I kind of have a system down to get these out quicker, and I say that, but I'm going to try to get it out as soon as I can. To everyone who has been sticking to this and being so supportive in the comments, I thank you so much. I am over 300 subscribers. It means the world to me. If you would like more content from me and some other people, you can please check out Epic Style, which is a Let's Play show. And by Let's Play show, I mean a Game Grumps and Oni Plays ripoff of me, my friend Cole, Aiden, and Jose, where we play games and we scream at each other. If you like some background noise of 4 idiots being idiots, it's perfect for that. And like I said, I'm on Twitch. I'm going to try to be streaming a lot more, maybe doing art, some games. And I'm on Instagram. I have a Twitter and Blue Sky. I don't go on those too much anymore. But Instagram, I'm going to be trying to be posting a lot more. If you would like to see more of that stuff, please go check it out. Thank you all so much for watching. I really don't understand how me yapping about this game has led to a lot of people being interested in it. Everyone in the comments has been so supportful. So thank you all. I really do mean it. And I think that's all for this episode. I'm going to try to start writing the script for the next part, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to work on it anytime soon. So, yeah. My friend Aiden says hi.